And now we'll bring up Gervonta Tank Davis as
That's dangerous.
Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach's rematch press conference erupted into chaos when Tank threw a chair at Roach. It wasn't about words anymore, but about explosive actions from the WBA lightweight champ, who's aiming to let his fists talk, come fight night. However, the drama actually began when Roach instigated matters, which were further stoked by Lamont's fans who were present and vocal in the audience.
We don't talk about none of that.
They never gonna stop nothing over here. He gonna pay for it. I guarantee he paid for it. I guarantee he paid for it. I guarantee it. Come to the fight. Come to the fight.
I want to say to him.
He a front runner like everybody else that fought. That's it. That's it. That's it. Okay.
So you said he's a front runner just like everyone else you fought?
Showing off for the people that's here. That's all he doing. Showing off for them. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. He's showing off. He ain't had none of this energy any other time. Now, no, it's not. No, it's not.
Tank had argued violently with them in the press conference before the first fight.
Tank had already clashed with them before their first bout's press conference, but this time things escalated badly. When Roach tried stepping in, Tank launched a chair straight at him. A bunch of security staff rushed to calm things down, as Roach's crowd looked ready to storm the stage. Roach mocked Davis, saying, "I proved I can hang with you. Next time I'm taking that belt." Davis, clearly annoyed, snapped back. "You talk too much, Lamont. I'll silence you forever." Their war of words has fans buzzing ahead of the big rematch.
It's always an electric atmosphere when you step into the ring. And once again, the last time you were in Barclays Center, you broke records. They're anticipating those records to be broken. What happens as Gervonta Tank Davis defends his world title again?
Same old, same old. I get the people what they want to see, man. Explosive knockouts and shit like that. That's what come with me.
But things escalated further backstage when Davis vowed to destroy Roach in the ring. Sources claim Davis cornered Roach, pointed at him and said, "No running, no excuses this time. I'll prove I'm the real champ." Roach, unfazed, stayed, confident he can outbox Davis to take the title. The heat between them was undeniable as they squared off before a full crowd at MGM Grand in Vegas. Their last clash ended in controversy, with many unhappy over the decision. Davis's team, who escaped with a draw, were vocal, while Roach's camp insists he got robbed.
You know, when the niggas, when they start talking, when the people that who I fight, when they start talking, that's when y'all get dumb. I'ma beat his ass when y'all talking. Y'all better be quiet. All that, like, twist it up.
Not at all. Never. Nothing.
The fallout from their first fight has only raised tensions higher, making this rematch must-see. The bout was initially planned for June 21st, but got pushed to late summer or fall to give Davis more prep time. Still, both men are training for what's expected to be a classic showdown for glory and the lightweight crown. Reactions to the press event have been intense, with fans and pundits praising the fight's buildup. One fan said, "Gervonta finally met his match. He's run. Out of scare tactics, now he's resorting to violence. What a disgrace to boxing."
It's me and you, fool. Tank. It's me and you, fool. Don't worry about them. They might get they gonna trick you out the spot. They gonna trick you out the spot, so don't worry about that.
So you said, what
would you ideally like to get him out of there?
Man, everybody won the first round.
I'm all in on this beef between Roach and Davis. It's totally fight of the year material, one fan said. That press conference energy was electric. I'm definitely watching the rematch. Another added, this will be war. Davis has to redeem himself after barely scraping by last time. I hope Roach pulls it off. A third chimed in. Davis will shut Roach down. Roach thinks he can outbox him, but he's in for a rude awakening. Tank's power is too much. He'll remind everyone why he's champion. Roach has skills, but not enough to beat Tank.
Shit, I'm trying to knock anybody out. I don't care if it was him, if it was anybody else. I'm trying to knock everybody out.
We'll knock him out the first round.
Everybody in this room right now know what's going on. Come on, stop. Y'all know what's going on. Y'all know how I'm coming. Y'all know how I'm coming. So stop it. Y'all gonna make it hard for him. That's what y'all gonna do. Y'all gonna make it hard for him.
Another viewer wrote, Lamont Roach Jr. is a savage. He pushed Davis to the edge before and he'll do it again. Roach's speed and slickness will frustrate Tank and maybe even lead to an upset. Tank's taking him lightly and that'll cost him. Roach will show he's superior. The stage is perfectly set for an explosive battle between two warriors ready to leave it all in the ring. With Tank's destructive power and Roach's hunger, this will be a war to remember. And frank. Martin Davis's last opponent had some bold words for whoever wins this clash.
Want to compete with Roach, but what did you think about that fight? Like, did you think it was competitive?
Yeah, I think it was competitive. I feel like with them having I feel like the relationship that they got or they had, as far as coming up together and kind of knowing the same people, working with the same people, it kind of was more of the fight was more of like I feel like so Roach came out and fought his best.
Frank Martin wasn't shy about his thoughts on Davis's underwhelming performance against Roach. Martin fought Tank back in June 2024, facing perhaps the best version of Davis we've seen. Martin got off early, landing clean shots through the first 3 rounds as Tank slowly warmed up. But then Davis turned it on, chasing Martin across the ring with relentless pressure. In round 8, Davis blasted Martin with a left uppercut that left him stunned and glassy-eyed. Another clean. Left dropped him hard. Martin lay dazed on the canvas as the referee counted him out.
To possibly fight, right, against Tank. He came out with his A game, boom. And I feel like Tank came in that fight not underestimating Roach, but more like we got history. I know what he liked, basically, but Roach is gonna automatically have more of a little spark because he tried to get that spot. And Tank probably just like, I know you. I'm gonna do what I want to do to you. I'm gonna do what I've done to you. Because I know they fought prior. The fights might have been close or whatever, but
Tank had a much tougher outing versus Roach this past March. Roach absorbed counters, fired back, and even pushed the champion backward. He fought to a draw, with most observers believing he deserved the win. Martin says Davis's flat performance and Roach's best night explained the result. Roach fought the fight of his life, Martin told Fight Hype's Ron Goodall. He showed up sharp. I don't think Tank really turned it on, he was just too relaxed. He thought it would be easier. Then it was. But Roach came to win that night.
Not like fully like trying to get off. I don't feel like, like he fought it more relaxed and chill instead of, really trying to get him up out of there. I think that he thought the fight may have been easier than what it was. And Roach did his thing. He took advantage of that. And shit, the fight came to a draw. But I think the rematch, honestly,
The biggest source of controversy in the fight was Davis taking a knee in round 9 after taking a jab to the face from Roach. Davis raced to his corner, where a trainer wiped his face with a towel. After the fight, Davis said his eyes were stinging from hair grease running into them. Referee Steve Willis began counting, as is standard when a fighter takes a knee, but did not call a knockdown or disqualify Davis for receiving corner assistance mid-round. Martin alleged that Davis was the beneficiary of A-side bias. It was a close fight, he told Goodall. I feel like the draw was cool, but with him taking a knee, like I say, Tank knows they're gonna give it to their man. They're gonna give it to the guy who brings it all the money.
That's just gonna be a good fight still, but I think Tank may get him up out of there this fight. And even with the knockdown and all that stuff too, I know you probably was gonna ask me about that. It was a close ass fight. It was a close ass fight. I feel like the draw was cool, but with him taking the knee, like I say, Tank. You know, like they gonna give it to their man. They gonna give it to the guy with who bringing in all the money.
What sparked the most debate was Tank taking a knee in round 9 after a jab from Roach. Davis quickly went to his corner, where a trainer wiped his eyes with a towel. Afterward, Davis said grease had dripped into his eyes, stinging badly. Referee. Steve Willis began a standard count after the knee, but didn't call a knockdown or disqualify Davis despite mid-round assistance. Martin felt the fight favored Tank unfairly. It was close, he told Goodall, but once he took that knee, they were always going to hand it to their moneymaker.
But the rematch, I feel like Tank gonna do. He gonna turn up on this next one.
You think he was locked in more with you than Roach, or you think it was kind of?
For sure. Hell yeah. I feel like he was a lot more locked in with me than Roach. Roach a good fighter. Roach a good fighter, but I just feel like it was more. He was more locked in when it came to me. Just because, you know, when you fight a